Welcome everyone to Crafting with Julia. If you're new to my channel, my name is Julia and I'm so glad you tuned in today. Today I'm going to show you how I made this plaque using shims and a plastic container. I was on Pinterest and I saw these plaques and I really loved it, so this is the inspiration for my wood plaque. So I started with this one. I made this one first, but I wasn't happy with the way it came out. I used a different method to distress it. It was the Vaseline method, which I'm not crazy about. I'll explain that later, but I'm going to make a new one. So now I'm going to show you how I made them. So I take 12 shims. Now, I've seen people do this with paint sticks, and I did not have paint sticks, but I had a whole bunch of shims, so I thought I'd use them. So I start out with 3 of them, and I'm just going to measure how long I want the back to be and make a little mark there. And I'll do this for all 3. And then I have these great shears that I purchased. They're great for cutting wood. I make a lot of dowels, and I use dowels a lot, and I use this to cut my dowels instead of sawing the wood. So you just open it up. There's a safety pin there, and you open it up, and you lay it across. There's they're trunking shears, so there are adjustable degrees, and it cuts various materials. It could cut plastic. But I use it mainly to cut wood. I'm just going to bend it back and forth. There we go. And it makes a nice clean cut. And I purchased these on Amazon, and I will provide the link in the description box below if you're interested. It's a handy tool to have. I'd be lost without it. So I have my 3 pieces now. And I'm just going to lay them out, lay all 3 out. This will be the back. And like I said, you need 9 shims going across. Well, that's what I used. And I just lay them out. Now with shims, I don't know if you are familiar with the shims. Shims are thicker on one end and much thinner on the other end. So I'm making sure that all of the thicker ends are up top. So I am going to use Gorilla wood glue. This is fantastic. It bonds to the wood. It's very, very strong. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit on each piece. Like that. And now I'm just going to take each shim and lay them down and make sure they butt up against each other. And I'm going to do this for all 9 pieces. Like I said, I've seen this done with paint sticks, with just pieces of wood, anything you use. It's just great. I love it. Next, I'm going to try to use paint sticks and make it look like a picket fence. I think that would be cute. There's my last one, and now I'm just going to make sure they're all sitting on the 3 pieces of wood behind. I'm just going to scrape a little of the glue that came through. And I am going to set that aside and wait for the glue to dry. Now that now that the glue is dried, I am ready to paint the first coat, and I want to distress it. So I'm going to put a darker coat. I used this Sargent acrylic paint. The color is burnt umber. This is going to be my first coat because when I distress it, I'm going to put a lighter coat on top of this and then distress it so the darker coat comes through. Okay, now that my first coat is dry, I am going to use the candle wax method to distress it. So before I put on my chalk paint, which I'm going to use Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in white Adirondack, I use a candle. I saw this method on someone else's YouTube channel. I forget who it was, but this is a great way to distress. Like I said, my first project I used Vaseline and I did not like the way it came out. First of all, the paint does not adhere to the Vaseline. It's just very messy and it's uneven. I like this much better. So you just put the wax on like I'm doing here, and that's it. You're going to put the paint right over it. You don't have to wait. So I'm going to take the paint now. It's a little hard to get off. It's stuck on. Okay, so now that we're finished painting it, we're going to set it aside and let it dry. So now we're ready to distress. So I have my scraper, and now you're just going to gently scrape off the white layer of paint. And see how nicely this comes off? That's why I like to use the candle method. It's such a clean process. I'm just going to go around, scrape off where I wanted the darker color to come through. And I hope you're enjoying this video. If you already subscribed to my channel, I want to thank you very much. And if you haven't, I would hope that you do. And I hope that you would ring the bell so you'll be notified of all the new videos that are coming out. Also, I'd love for you to connect with me on Instagram and Facebook. To do so, just click on the links in the description box below. Okay, so now our distressing is done. Now we're ready for the bucket. So what I did was I just took a regular, I had this bucket, it was filled with the Traverfill, and I cut it in half. Just like that, I cut it in half. And now I need to make a back for it. So I'm just going to grab a piece of cardboard and a marker, and I'm just going to make sure it fits on my cardboard, and I'm just going to trace it. And it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to wrap it with rope. So I just want to get it back on there. Okay. And now I'm going to cut it out. And now I'm going to glue that cardboard to the back of the half a bucket. With some hot glue. And just put it on the bucket. Make sure it's nice and secure. And now I'm ready to put my rope on. I'm just going to wrap the entire bucket with rope. You can also do this with twine. Obviously, before you start your project, you need to make sure you have enough to go around the entire bucket. Okay, so that's nice and secure. And it fits nicely on the plaque. And now we're ready for the rope. So I'm going to start by dabbing some hot glue at the bottom. And just keep twirling it around the bucket. And just keep doing this till you get to the top. And then I'll go around the bottom and cover the bottom. Okay, so now that we have our rope all around the bucket, we're going to put the styrofoam in the bucket because I'm going to make a planter out of this, so I want some styrofoam in the bottom. So I took 2 pieces because one wasn't high enough. So I'm going to glue that to the bottom, and then I'm going to glue the other piece to the top of that one. And now we're ready to glue the bucket to the board. I'm going to use hot glue and regular glue because I wanted to make sure that it's secure. I think that's going to look really nice. So I'm going to put some Aleene's tacky glue. And now I'm going to add some hot glue. Go around all the edges. And now we're ready to adhere to the board. Okay, just like that. Okay, that's nice and secure. Okay, now we're ready to decoupage. First of all, I buy my decoupage by the gallons, so I keep my decoupage in these little glass jars. And I found a site, the name is Creative Bell, and she has these wonderful images that you just download onto your computer, and you can size them any size you like. So I took this image and I sized it to the size I needed, and I'm going to use some Tim Holtz Distress ink to distress the edges, and the color that I used is Vintage Photo. And I'm going to take this blender, and you want to start above the image and just blend it into the image. And that will give it a nice distressed old look. Make it look like a vintage photo. So load the ink, start above the image, and then blend into the image. And just keep going around the photo. Okay. And now I'm going to take my paintbrush and some water, and I'm going to go around the image because I don't want to cut it. I don't want a straight cut. I want it to be ripped. So this will moisten the paper and allow me to tear it and get a nice rough edge. See how I'm doing it there? It just pulls apart. I'm going to pull it. Rough up the edges. And now we're ready to add the Mod Podge. There, that's perfect. So I'm just going to lay it face down. It fits on there perfectly. I love it. So lay the image face down, and you're going to load your brush with the Mod Podge, and you're going to start from the center and work your way out. And make sure you get all the edges. Like so. Give it a nice generous coat. And now we're ready to apply it to our basket. Smooth it out. Perfect. And nice. These images are great. I put the link to Creative Belle in my description box below for those of you who are interested. She's got some great images. All right, now we're ready to put the flowers in our planter. So I grabbed some of these stems that I had got from Dollar Tree. Some cattails, some filler, and this grassy stuff that I think I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure. I don't remember where I got that from. So I'm just going to start with a couple of the grassy stems. And I'm going to put 3 in the back. Put one on that side. So we are done. Isn't that lovely? Now this is going to be a hanger, so I am going to drill 2 holes right here, and I'm going to put the rope through there so that we can hang it. Isn't that pretty? Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day.